In 1990, superstar country singer Naomi Judd's career came to a screeching halt after being diagnosed with hepatitis. She was told she had only 3 years to live. Never one to run from adversity, in addition to taking traditional medicine, she relied on the power of positive thinking, visual imagery, and stress reduction to help alleviate some of her symptoms. 24 years later and feeling better than ever, Naomi Judd is living proof that the mind can be a powerful thing. So please welcome 7-time Grammy winner and country superstar, Naomi Judd.
Give a little love.
Give a Little Love, and you're giving a little love to us by showing up on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Do you know, I just flashed the last time we saw each other, we were at a party here in New York City, and you and Michael J. Fox and I wound up over in a little corner, and we were talking about how if public figures would talk about their diseases, their illnesses, and their problems in a public platform, how helpful that would be, because we're not perfect. We don't live these glamorous lives all the time. Do you remember that?
I do, and flash forward, obviously, Michael J. Fox has done such a tremendous job raising awareness and tons of money for Parkinson's disease.
Just like you have about colon cancer.
Well, and now you're doing the same about some of your health issues. But before we get to that, can I just say you look beautiful?
Thank you.
I love your dress. It's so retro, right?
It's very Lucy. Da 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 da. It beats wearing a burqa. What can I say?
Well, you look fantastic. And how are your daughters?
Did I really just say that?
Yes. Well, it probably does for most people. But how are Ashley and Winona doing, and the girls?
They're good. Just got a text from Ashley. She's in Palm Springs, and Winona's somewhere. Her bus is probably on your street.
Really? Is she traveling and touring around?
She's out there in life's highways living on a tour bus.
Wow. Well, I thought a lot about you, Naomi, not too long ago, because there was so much talk about Ashley possibly running for Senate in Kentucky. Oh, really? Is that something that you weren't excited about?
Well, first of all, you know, the girls and I have very different realities, and I'm so proud of them because they both have huge hearts. And Ashley's my intellectual pinup girl. She's just so stinking smart. I'm going to see how many times I can say stinking on today's show.
Well, one.
Are you scared, by the way, doing live TV with me?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Because one time...
but maybe we should have a 7-second delay, actually.
No, that's no fun. Okay, so true story, Winona and I were doing the Jay Leno show. I just did a gig with Jay last week, and we were talking about this. And we would take turns, you know, one of us would sit on the next to him for 2 minutes, then we'd get up and switch. But the person before us was talking about what people are afraid of, like the most dangerous things they could think of, like sharks or fear of speaking in public. So we come on, and Jay looks at us and says, Winona, what's the scariest thing in the world to you? And Winona goes, live TV with my mom.
That's funny.
And Jay goes, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen.
That's funny. Well, of course, you and Winona have performed so much through the years, and we have a clip from your farewell tour before you retired back in the day. Let's take a look.
Back in the day.
You guys sounded great. You looked like you were having so much fun, but what probably people didn't know when they were at that concert watching you perform is you had been living with hepatitis for a year. Yeah, and you had been told that you had only had 3 years to live.
3 stinking years.
3 stinking years to live. And that was back in, what, the early 90s,
That was
right?
1990, and to just set the record straight, I was a registered nurse before we started our singing career. And very few people know this, but I was actually going to go on and get my MD. I was going to use my registered nurse degree to put myself through medical school. And then when Winona started singing, once I heard that fabulous voice and I knew that was her destiny, I realized that I wasn't going to let her get into music business without someone chaperoning her. So that's why I became a harmony singer. So then we're at the height of our career. We're cruising through life with the top down because of you awesome people. And then, bam, I am incredibly sick, like fetal position in a dark room, kind of sick. Couldn't brush my teeth, couldn't change my nightgown, and the big enchiladas, the big doctors told me I had 3 years to live.
And that must have been, I mean, talk about a punch in the gut. And I know, Naomi, along with prescription medications, this is when you had this epiphany and you discovered that there are other things within your power that you could do that would help you heal.
Yeah.
What kinds of things did you start incorporating into your daily life?
Well, I just heard in the intro you mentioned the fact that our beliefs, what we believe, turns into our biology. Our mind literally affects the body. And I remember, even though I was in a wheelchair, it was my little white hillbilly butt sticking out of that hospital gown for a change. And I said to this doctor, what I really wanted to do was slap him, but I was too weak. I wanted to slap him, but I won't say that because you don't have a second delay. But you can imagine, and I just had the intuitive wisdom in my gut that, and I had the discernment because I was a registered nurse. And I said to him, first of all, I said, you need to retire now and you need to become a lighthouse keeper on a remote coast in Maine because you have no bedside manner and you didn't give me any hope. And I said, you just gave me a medical hex. You literally just put a medical curse on me because if I didn't know better, I would be taking a 6-foot dirt nap, you know? So even though I didn't have the documented evidence and placebo-based double-blind clinical trials that I have nowadays, I just intuited that I was not going to die. I was the only one that believed that, by the way. And I began investigating and calling up and knocking on doors. The first person was Dr. Andrew Weil, who I think is sort of the father. I don't know if you all have heard of him.
Yeah, of course.
He graduated from Harvard for his MD, but he's sort of the father of integrative medicine. I met with him. He's now been a friend for all these years. I just did an event with him last week.
And you started doing things like meditating,
Yes.
affirmations, becoming closer to nature, really
Yes.
changing your whole mindset.
Absolutely.
Through a whole host of things.
Dr. Andy not only told me that, taught me that, and we've become very dear friends. All these people, like Dr. Gladys McGarry, who started the American Holistic Physicians Association, I did an event with her last week, but I started hanging out with them. And yes, I've seen Dolly naked, and I have Taylor Swift's cell number, but these are my new friends. And one of the most, I know.
I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah.
Come back to the mothership, Naomi. Come back, come back. But
no, but I think they obviously, these relationships really changed your life.
And
saved your life. And you know what is so interesting, it's become really part of the scientific community, understanding this mind-body connection. And we're going to talk more about that with some actual scientists. That's right after this.
Coming up later, the latest viral video that...
Welcome back. Today we're talking about a fascinating topic, the mind-body connection, with country legend Naomi Judd. Also with us is Dr. John Denninger from the Benson Henry Institute of Mind-Body Medicine at Mass General, and Bob Roth, Executive Director of the David Lynch Foundation, an organization that uses transcendental meditation to reduce stress. He's worked with everyone from Hugh Jackman to Martin Scorsese to Russell Simmons. Please sign me up, Bob. And let me start with you, Dr. Denninger. I mean, this is not a bunch of hooey. This whole mind-body connection has become an accepted part of really science these days. Tell us about that.
Sure, absolutely. First, I'm trying to find a way to work the word stinking into my answer. Can I do that?
She's got that covered.
Oh, she's already So, you know, there are a lot of smart people around the country and around the world who are working on figuring out how mind-body medicine, how this really works, what the biological mechanisms are. And what we're recognizing more and more is that all of the stuff that our brain takes in every minute of every day